Welcome back to my channel, Piano My Homie Dad. I am on a roll today. I created one sit-down video before this. I have yet to edit it. You saw that already if you're not new to my channel and you're a returning viewer. My heart beats for you. I love you so much. So much. Mucho gracias. You're the real MVP. Sticking it through these emotional damage, highs and lows in life. Well, I guess if anybody knows mental health, it's someone who's gone through it or is going through it. So today's video is a little bit different. The last sit down video I posted, I'm looking at my schedule over here if you're wondering what the hell is she looking at. I posted it last Friday. This one will be scheduled on a Wednesday. And I scratched the surface on this topic a little bit. It's about not feeling equipped. And I kind of mentioned a little bit about this in that last video that I posted, like I said, last Friday. I repeat myself a lot, so I apologize. But there's many times in our lives when, like, say you want to go to school and nobody in your family has ever done it, and you're like, well, I don't know if I'm like smart enough, or maybe you're a kid that went through school and there's been people in your life, such as like family members or a teacher or kids at school, and bullied you and told you you're stupid and you believed it. And it's not that you were never good at school, it's just that what you were learning wasn't interesting to you. And you're like, well, I'd rather be outside playing. Maybe you're very talented at welding. Maybe you're really talented at the trades. Maybe you're a person that is just naturally gifted at building stuff. That's equally as important. You don't need a high school diploma or a GED or some kind of fancy degree to have worth in this life. If you're a kid that's under 18, I'm not saying dropping out is cool, but my dad was a high school dropout. I'm just gonna share that right now. I have chills talking about this. My dad is one of the most talented people that I've ever met in my life. He's pretty artsy, I guess. I think that I get my ability to, you know, the hands-on skills from my dad. I'm a hands-on learner, and maybe you're a similar way. I could read a manuscript over and over and over, and I'm just bored of it. I'm just like, show me pictures, I will put the thing together. Like, if there's not pictures, I'm devastated. My dad was a high school dropout. He got his GED in 2012, the same year that I graduated high school, so it was kind of cool. I got to graduate with my dad. I'm using this as an example, and the message of this video is not feeling like you're equipped, so this is why I'm giving a prime example. I'll get to my point here in a second. Actually, I really don't 100% know where I'm going, but there will be a point, so stick it through with me because we're about to go for a ride here. My dad has worked his ass off his entire life. He worked for a garbage company, he drove truck, and he would scrap metal. And my mom was a stay-at-home mom. We were living off of one income, so when I mean that we were house poor growing up, we were house poor. We didn't have kitchen cabinets till I was probably 12 years old. And that's because my mom and grandma ripped them out of the house when I was a kid because they were dirty, old, it doesn't matter. But anyway, we were house poor. We didn't have a lot of money, and my dad busted his ass to provide everything that we had in our lives. My dad he's the hardest worker that I've ever known in my existence. And I think that that's where my workaholism comes from, is watching my dad. But my dad was relentless. If my dad didn't know how to do something, he'd figure out a way. He buys brand new trailers if he doesn't like a feature on them, like that has a hand jack. He'll go in and weld and build his own thing, and he puts the electric jack in. He's like, you don't need to ruin your body. My dad is a pure genius. Like, I don't know why he hasn't built parts and put a patent on them, because the guy knows what he's doing when it comes to mechanics. My dad growing up, like, even though we didn't have a lot, my dad built something from nothing. I single-handedly watched my parents have nothing to have something, and my dad is always learning new things. He's always tried different things. He's always had several different jobs. Like, he had his main job, and then we had like side businesses. My dad was the entrepreneur. That's where I learned all of his stuff from. So like, when I went to college for business, it was a piece of cake for me because it was all common sense. At 50 some years old, I don't remember how old my dad was. I'm just gonna share a little bit. I won't go into details because of like privacy, and like I don't want to share his whole story, because one day I thought about having a podcast and having like special guests on it, people that I'm related to and people in my life that are inspiring. But anyways, when my dad was in his early 50s, he bought a boom truck. And for those of you who aren't familiar with what a boom truck is it's got the arm on it, and it's like a bucket truck. You're in a bucket. It's what Xcel Energy uses to work on power lines. It's what tree companies use. My dad started trimming his own trees, and then people started asking him, hey, will you trim my trees? Within 3 years, and I remember I was living with my dad at the time, and he had his full-time job and he had this side business, a tree business. My dad would work till 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, and then he would get done with his regular job, and he drove truck. At the time he hauled pigs, and then he would go work on his tree business. And I watched my dad do this for a significant amount of time. I watched my dad get very stressed out. I remember I think it was the second year, maybe it was the first year after he quit his job. So he struggled. He had a really hard time, and it was make it or break it. And my dad did whatever it took to make that dream work. And he didn't have the equipment. He didn't have the skid loader. He didn't have the right chainsaws. When he first started, he started from the bottom, and then he kept investing his money in building this business. The point of this story isn't to talk about my dad and shed a spotlight on him, even though he does deserve a spotlight, so I guess I kind of am in a way, but my dad built something from nothing. Within 5 years, that company, my dad has made the most money he's ever made in his life. My dad has worked his ass off his entire life. And, you know, it kind of goes, another example too is like, you know, so a lot of people don't start a YouTube channel because like one, they're like, oh my God, I'm like terrified of the camera and like it's looking at me and I don't know what to say. And all you literally need, if you have an iPhone and you want to start a YouTube channel, you have no excuse not to start a YouTube channel. You can be recording stuff on your phone. You can go back and watch my videos on here. I hope you do. They're probably really awkward and terrible, even though I did like acting classes and I wasn't super nervous in front of the camera. I just had a really hard time being 100% authentically myself. And I'd be lying if sometimes I turn on the camera and I try and do a facade and then I'll like turn it off and like I restart because I'm like, who the hell am I? Like, this isn't me. A lot of times people are afraid to start a YouTube channel. They say like, oh, maybe I'm too old. Maybe I'm boring. Maybe I'm not that interesting. Maybe I don't have that great of a life. You don't have to have all the equipment to start something. You don't have to have extravagant cameras. Like, say you want to be a photographer. You can go get a medium grade camera for like $300 and start taking photos of people. Do it for free for a while. Do test shoots, so to speak. Ask people you know to do photography. There's ways around to start these types of things. And I think a lot of times we get in our own way or like, oh, well, I'm either not good at that or I don't have the right equipment, so I'll just wait till I get X, Y, and Z and start. When I started painting again, like that's when short form content was starting to come out and it started to get really big. Like that was kind of like the explosion of TikTok was around 2020, and that's when I started painting again. And it's crazy to believe well, now it was like almost 5 years ago, but it's not really that long ago. I started painting and my first few videos really sucked, and I tried the short form content for a while, and then I got back on YouTube because I was like, I really like long form videos, and I just really, I don't know, there's just something about YouTube. I like it. I like it a lot. Maybe it's because like it's a US owned company or whatever. What I'm trying to tell you if you're watching this video today is, I feel like a broken record, you do not have to have all the equipment to start. You're not going to be the best. And, you know, it's kind of like myself. When I started these videos, I didn't have this ring light. I didn't have these LED lights under my counter here. My lighting sucked. I thought my videos were good. They were decent. There's parts where they were really boring and I was like, I don't understand why people aren't watching these. It's all a learning curve, and you don't have to have the best equipment. And when you start is when you're going to learn those things, and you're going to, you know, take that money and invest it back into your business. I have this ring light. I have a decent camera. I have the Sony ZV-1, I think it is. And when I started photography, I started with a lower grade camera. It was a hand-me-down that I bought from my dad because he wanted to take pictures of us racing motocross when I was a kid. And I bought that camera from him, and that's how I started. And I got a nicer camera, and I did my research. And another example, I mentioned this in my last video, but I had to photograph Caitlin and Travis's wedding, and I didn't tell anybody really this, but I just about lost my absolute mind. I was like, oh my God, this is an indoor wedding. I have to make sure the lighting is good, blah, blah, blah. It's something that I never did before. It's something that I wasn't equipped to photograph in a low light setting. And I did my research. When I tell you that I binge watched and binge listened to videos on YouTube on how to learn to do this and make sure that I like nailed it on the head and I did the best of my ability, I binge watched them and I engulfed myself in it, and it was a learning lesson. That anxiety pushed me to learn those things because I was like, shit, I gotta get this right. My bad, sorry there, my camera battery was about to die. I guess my entire point of this video is the point that I wanted to get to, and one of the things that I've been thinking about is how do I say this? When I post videos that are sit-down videos like this, I cannot tell you, like, there's so many times where I feel like the world's biggest hypocrite. It's not that I'm telling people how to feel. I'm using my experiences that I go through. I have my struggles. It's no, what's the word for it? It's not shocking that I struggle with mental health. I'm very honest about my vulnerability on this channel. You guys have seen me go through it, and I share those parts because I don't want someone to watch my videos and be like, oh my God, well, she doesn't struggle with anything and I'm trying to do this thing and Tyler just has it easy and maybe I'm just a crappy person because she doesn't struggle with anything and maybe I'm too sensitive, because I've had those thoughts before. I don't want someone to feel like that watching my channel. That's why I share when I have a meltdown. I share when I'm burnt out. I share when I'm going through a hard time, because as humans, we're all flawed. And for the longest time, and I'm still guilty of this, is for a while there, I wanted to stop doing sit-down videos is because I was like, God, I feel like a hypocrite. But I film these videos when I am in a good place in my life and I am positive and I'm not going through it. And I make these videos not to really talk myself into it, but I'm taking this knowledge that I have inside and I'm expressing it using experiences that I've gone through in my life. And I think one of the hardest things that I struggle with is ever since I was a little kid, I've had a very high maturity level. I like to be goofy, don't get me wrong. I have crazy, this inner child in me is larger than life. There's no doubt about that. But I have this maturity about me where when I'm going through a struggle, what that internal conflict, the thing that really F's me up, so to speak, is I know exactly what to say to me and I know exactly what I need to hear, and I know, but when I'm going through it, everything is so intensified, it's so emotional, it's hard because life is hard. And what I'm trying to say is I create these videos because I feel like there's somebody out there that maybe is like, God, I have all this knowledge inside and I don't want to share motivational messages because I don't want to feel like a hypocrite. And I'm not a hypocrite, and every single person on this platform that is a motivational speaker or the biggest athletes that you look up to, they all have their struggles. Kobe Bryant had his struggles. There's every single person that has made it to the top, Gary Vee, they've all shared their struggles. Some people might not share in-depth moments, or maybe people aren't as vulnerable as I am, but you're not a hypocrite for sharing a part of your heart or sharing a part of your wisdom when you're at a higher level in life. Not saying you're better than anybody, but saying you're at a good place in your life and you're like, God, I really want to make this video because I want someone to feel so much less alone in this life. And I think that that's the biggest reason why I create these videos, is because my whole channel is based around mental health awareness. I'm not 110% sure which direction this channel is going to go. I know that I enjoy doing vlogs and stuff like that, but you don't need to be perfect to do this. You don't need to be striving for perfection, is just going to leave you disappointed every single time. You don't have to have the best quality camera. You don't need to have the best status, following. Numbers really don't matter. I played the numbers game. I was like, oh, well, I only have 700 and something subscribers. I do now. I gained I think close to 15 in the last day and a half from one of my videos that did particularly well, which I was really shocked about because it just was easy. I was just talking to my camera like I was talking to a friend, and it wasn't the best of quality, but there was a message in there that apparently a lot of people needed to hear. So what I'm here to tell you today is you don't need to be the most knowledgeable a lot of times in order to get, you have to stop just getting your feet wet and you gotta jump in head first. You're gonna suck. And I think that that's an ego thing, it's one of the things that I've had to work through, and I'm not afraid to suck anymore. I'd be lying if that was 100%. I was like, oh, I'm 100%, I don't care if I suck. There's still a part of me that's really, it's just me being hard on myself if I'm bad at something, but I'm not afraid to go for something that I'm not good at, because I do know that consistency pays off over time, and I don't need to have the best equipment. I don't need to have the best this or that. I think as long as you're, providing a message or a service or something that's out there to help people, I think that people will gravitate towards you because you're being real and authentic. And it might take some time because people are like, oh, what's wrong with that person? They're so themselves, it's cringy. I've been called cringy on this app before, and at first I was offended, but I can't say that I've heard a better compliment in my life, because I'm like, Yeah, 30-year-old cringer over here, you're welcome, happy to be of service. So, you don't gotta be the best at anything. We all suck at a certain point, but just keep showing up. Film on your phone, post your YouTube videos, even if your editing sucks. Like, you're only gonna get better. And I thought to myself, I was like, well, what better way to get better at editing video? What better way to get better at something than to post 3+ videos a week? I'm gonna get really skilled at this thing. And there's still times where I'm hard on myself where it's like, God, you know, I should have better camera quality and I want to make cinematic videos eventually one day and have all these ideas. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Tyler, slow down. Use what you have. Use what you have. You don't need the best equipment. You don't need the best lights. You don't need... It'll come with time. When you're investing that money back into your business, or you learn a trick on how to do something cheap and affordable and just utilize what you have. So the world is your oyster. You can literally learn anything on YouTube. You can learn how to make videos. You can learn how to edit. You can learn how to do photography. That's how I learned to shoot in low light settings and like figure out how to master my flash on my camera. And now I'm confident doing it because I jumped in head first. I did my research and the wedding photos turned out pretty darn good and the couple is extremely happy with them. I'll share more about that in maybe, I don't know, I'll share more about that in another video. Maybe I'll post it before this one or after. Timelines are wonky, but you don't need to be fully equipped. Just come as you are. Be messy, be real. As long as you're not hurting anybody, and that's what learning is, you know? Little kids don't care what people think of them if they can walk or not. They're not like, oh my God, is everyone watching me? I don't know if I should like take these first few steps. It's like, no, people root them on. And I think that's what we miss a lot of times, like from our childhood is, you know, when we ride our first bike or take our first few steps, or we win a game, or we win a race, and when we're kids and we get cheered on, when we're adults, the clapping kind of stops. And I think one of the hardest things through all of this is having to clap for yourself and just using what you have. It's good enough. It's good enough because it's what you have in the moment. So I hope that you go for your dreams. I hope that you create your first YouTube video. I hope that you start painting again. I hope that you start playing music again. I hope that you start your business. Maybe you build stuff. Maybe you want to get into welding, go back to school. I hope you do it. It's not going to be easy. It's not meant to be easy. If it was, then we wouldn't grow like we do. So it's one of the things I have to remind myself of. I'm not being a hypocrite. It's just what I know when I'm not having an off day. And this is me spreading a message because sometimes I need to hear it too from people. So this is from me to you. I hope that you go after your dreams, and I pray that you get everything you want in life, and things always have a way of working themselves out. So anyways, I'm gonna get off my soapbox. Until next time, I hope you just peace out.